Poor night vision after 60 is not just aging. It is your eyes sending out a desperate cry for help. And the worst part? Most people are eating the wrong things before bed, making the damage worse every single night. But here is what nobody is telling you. There is a specific fruit, one that costs almost nothing, that contains a compound so powerful it has been shown to regenerate the cells inside your retina while you sleep. Not while you exercise, not while you take expensive supplements, while you sleep. Stay with me until the end, because the number one fruit on this list is so extraordinary that a study published in the Journal of Clinical Nutrition found participants who consumed it regularly experienced a 42% improvement in low-light vision in just 8 weeks. 42%. And yet almost nobody eats it at the right time, in the right way, to actually get those results. I am Dr. Patricia Holloway, a physician specialized in senior health with over 15 years of dedicated clinical experience. I have worked with thousands of men and women over 60 who came to me terrified that they were going blind, terrified of losing their driver's license, their independence, their ability to see the faces of their grandchildren clearly. What I am about to share with you goes against everything the vision care industry wants you to believe. They want you in that chair every year, buying new prescriptions, new lenses. But I have seen patients restore clarity, reduce eye strain, and slow macular degeneration with nothing more than a few simple dietary changes. I have seen it with my own eyes, patient after patient, and I refuse to stay silent any longer. If this information seems valuable to you already, hit that like button right now. It helps more people over 60 find this information when they need it most. Here is what is actually happening inside your eyes right now. After 60, the macula, that tiny but absolutely critical region at the center of your retina, responsible for sharp, detailed vision, begins to lose the protective pigments it depends on. These pigments, called lutein and zeaxanthin, act like internal sunglasses for your eyes. They filter out harmful blue light, neutralize damaging free radicals, and keep the photoreceptor cells that allow you to see fine detail alive and functioning. But here is the problem. Your body cannot make these pigments on its own. It depends entirely on what you eat. And most Americans over 60 are severely deficient. A landmark study found that individuals with the lowest dietary intake of lutein and zeaxanthin were nearly 3 times more likely to develop advanced age-related macular degeneration than those with the highest intake. 3 times more likely. And this is not the only threat. The tiny blood vessels that supply oxygen and nutrients to your retina begin to stiffen and narrow with age. Circulation to your optic nerve decreases. The lens of your eye gradually yellows and loses flexibility. The vitreous gel inside the eye starts to shrink, causing those annoying floaters that so many of my patients complain about. This is not inevitable decline. This is a supply problem. Your eyes are starving for specific nutrients that most people simply are not delivering. And there is a window, a critical window, every single night while you sleep, when your body shifts into deep repair mode. Cell regeneration accelerates. Inflammation decreases. Your eyes, deprived of incoming light signals, can finally focus their energy entirely on healing. The question is whether you are giving them the raw materials they need to do that job. Today, I am going to walk you through 7 fruits, ranked from least to most powerful, that deliver exactly those raw materials. And I am going to tell you not just what to eat, but when to eat it, how much, and what combinations amplify the effect dramatically. Before we continue, I want to ask you something. How old are you right now? Are you in your 60s, your 70s, maybe further along? And do you notice any changes in your vision when you drive at night or in dimly lit rooms? Type your age in the comments below and tell me when you first started noticing changes. I read every single one of those comments, and your answers genuinely guide the topics I cover each week. Number 7, watermelon. Most people think of watermelon as nothing more than a summer treat, something refreshing on a hot afternoon. But watermelon contains one of the most powerful antioxidants available to the human body, lycopene. Lycopene is a carotenoid in the same family as the pigments that protect your macula, and research has consistently shown that it plays a measurable role in reducing oxidative stress inside the eye. Here is why that matters. Your retinal cells are among the most metabolically active cells in your entire body. They burn enormous amounts of oxygen around the clock, which means they generate enormous amounts of oxidative waste. When that waste is not neutralized, it damages the delicate structures of the retina and accelerates the very degeneration we are trying to prevent. Lycopene steps in as a neutralizing force. A study published in Nutrients Journal found that regular lycopene consumption was associated with a 31% reduction in markers of retinal oxidative damage in adults over 65. Beyond the eyes, lycopene also supports the health of those tiny blood vessels feeding your retina, helping maintain flexibility and circulation. Now, here is the pro tip most people miss. Lycopene is fat-soluble, which means your body absorbs it dramatically better when you eat watermelon alongside a small amount of healthy fat. A few walnuts, a slice of avocado, even a drizzle of olive oil on a small watermelon salad before bed can increase your absorption by up to 300% compared to eating it alone. Aim for 1 to 2 cups of fresh watermelon in the evening, 2 to 3 hours before sleep. Number 6. Red grapes. Red grapes contain a compound that has generated genuine excitement in ophthalmology research over the past decade, resveratrol. You may have heard of resveratrol in the context of heart health or longevity research, but its effects on vision are equally compelling. Resveratrol has been shown to inhibit abnormal blood vessel growth inside the eye, which is one of the primary mechanisms behind wet macular degeneration, one of the most sight-threatening conditions affecting adults over 60. A 2021 study found that resveratrol reduced markers of retinal inflammation by 38% in animal models, with human trials showing promising but somewhat smaller effects. Beyond macular protection, the anthocyanins in red grape skin directly support the photoreceptor cells responsible for night vision. These are the same cells that allow you to adjust when you walk from a bright room into a dark hallway. After 60, those cells become less responsive. Anthocyanins have been shown to accelerate their recovery time significantly. Eat a small handful, about 1 cup of red or purple grapes, in the evening. Choose darker varieties whenever possible, as deeper color correlates directly with higher anthocyanin content. Avoid seedless varieties when you can find seeded ones, as the seeds contain additional beneficial compounds. Number 5. Papaya. Here is one that surprises most of my patients. Papaya is one of the richest dietary sources of beta-cryptoxanthin, a carotenoid that your body converts into vitamin A. And vitamin A is absolutely essential for the production of rhodopsin, the pigment in your rod cells that allows you to see in low light. Without adequate rhodopsin, night blindness accelerates. Beyond that, papaya contains an enzyme called papain, which has documented anti-inflammatory properties that extend to the delicate tissues of the eye. Chronic low-level inflammation inside the eye is one of the least discussed drivers of age-related vision loss, and papain is one of the few dietary compounds shown to penetrate those tissues effectively. A serving of fresh papaya also delivers over 100% of your daily vitamin C requirement, and vitamin C is directly concentrated in your lens, where it protects against the oxidative damage that leads to cataracts. Research suggests that individuals with the highest dietary vitamin C intake have a 33% lower risk of developing cataracts compared to those with the lowest intake. Eat half a medium papaya in the evening and squeeze a small amount of fresh lime juice over it. The vitamin C in the lime juice actually helps stabilize the carotenoids in the papaya and improves their absorption. Simple, inexpensive, and powerful. Now, I want to tell you about Margaret. Margaret was a 71-year-old retired school teacher from Charlotte, North Carolina. She came to my office frustrated and a little frightened. She had already had her prescription updated twice in the same year, and her ophthalmologist had told her she was showing early signs of macular degeneration. She was afraid of losing the ability to read. Teaching had been her life, and books were still her greatest joy in retirement. When she told me that she was not eating any fruit after dinner because she thought it would spike her blood sugar, I understood immediately what part of the problem was. I explained to her that certain evening fruits, eaten in the right portions, not only do not spike blood sugar significantly, but deliver the specific nutrients her eyes were starving for overnight. I gave her a simple protocol: papaya, red grapes, and one specific addition we will get to shortly, consumed in a small evening serving 2 hours before bed. 4 weeks later, she came back. She told me, "Doctor, I am reading for 2 hours before bed again without any strain. The haziness I had at the edges of my vision in the evenings has almost completely disappeared." She had tears in her eyes. This was not magic. This was her eyes finally receiving what they had been deprived of for years. And you can experience exactly the same thing. Number 4. Kiwi. Kiwi fruit is, gram for gram, one of the most nutrient-dense fruits available for eye health, and it is dramatically underestimated. A single kiwi delivers more vitamin C than an orange, which you already know is protective against cataracts. But the real story with kiwi is lutein. Kiwi is one of the few fruits, as opposed to leafy vegetables, that delivers a meaningful amount of lutein per serving. Most people know they should eat spinach or kale for lutein, but compliance with those recommendations is low, especially in the evenings. Kiwi offers a genuinely enjoyable way to deliver lutein right at the time your eyes need it most. A New Zealand study published in the British Journal of Ophthalmology found that consuming 2 to 3 kiwis per day for 12 weeks increased macular pigment optical density by 39%. Macular pigment optical density is essentially a measurement of how well protected your macula is. Increasing it by 39% is not a minor improvement. That is the difference between stable vision and accelerating deterioration for many people in their 60s and 70s. Kiwi also contains a unique combination of lutein and zeaxanthin alongside vitamin E, and this combination has been shown to be more effective than any of those nutrients consumed individually. Eat 2 kiwis in the evening, approximately 90 minutes before bed. You can eat the skin if it is not too tough for you, as the skin contains 3 times the fiber and additional antioxidants. Before we continue with the top 3, I want to make a request. If what you are hearing right now is valuable to you, I am asking for 2 simple things. First, subscribe to this channel. My mission is to deliver clear, honest, practical health information for adults over 60, without the noise, without the agenda, without the pharmaceutical bias. Second, and I genuinely mean this, share this video. Think about someone in your life whose vision has been declining. A parent, a sibling, a neighbor. A simple share could start a conversation that changes the trajectory of their eye health. A click costs you nothing. For them, it could mean everything. Number 3, pomegranate. Pomegranate is one of the most researched fruits in the world, and for good reason. It contains a remarkable density of polyphenols, particularly punic allergens and ellagic acid, which have demonstrated extraordinary anti-inflammatory and antioxidant capacity in multiple organ systems, including the eyes. Here is what makes pomegranate particularly interesting from an ophthalmology standpoint. Research suggests that its compounds specifically support the health of the optic nerve, the critical neural pathway that transmits visual signals from your retina to your brain. Optic nerve deterioration is a key driver of glaucoma, a condition affecting over 3 million Americans and one that most people do not notice until significant damage has already occurred. A study from Frontiers in Aging found that pomegranate extract supplementation over 6 months significantly reduced intraocular pressure, one of the primary risk factors for glaucomatous damage, in adults with elevated baseline readings. Pomegranate also supports retinal blood flow, and this is crucial. Your retina requires a constant, robust supply of oxygenated blood to function. Anything that compromises circulation, and many conditions associated with aging do exactly that, accelerates vision loss. Pomegranate's effect on vascular health extends directly to the microvasculature feeding the eye. Eat a quarter to a half cup of pomegranate seeds in the evening, or drink 4 ounces of pure pomegranate juice with no added sugar. The juice is highly concentrated, so a small amount is sufficient. Avoid pomegranate products with added sweeteners, as these introduce inflammatory compounds that partially counteract the benefits. If you are finding this helpful, hit that like button before we move to the top 2. These are the ones that genuinely surprised my patients the most. Now I want to tell you about James. James was a 78-year-old retired electrician from Phoenix, Arizona. He had been diabetic for 12 years, and his ophthalmologist had told him he was at high risk for diabetic retinopathy, a condition where elevated blood sugar damages the fragile blood vessels inside the retina. He had already noticed significant difficulty driving at night and was seriously considering surrendering his license. That independence meant everything to him. He had driven himself everywhere for 60 years. When James came to my office, he was eating almost no fruit, believing all fruit was off-limits for diabetics. I explained that this was not accurate, that certain low-glycemic fruits consumed in appropriate portions at the right time of day could actually support blood sugar stability while delivering extraordinary benefits for his eyes. I designed a specific evening protocol for him. Within 6 weeks, James reported that his night driving had improved enough that he felt safe on the road again. He told me, "Doctor, I drove my granddaughter to her school play last night. I have not done anything like that in over a year. I cannot tell you what that meant to me." His follow-up eye exam 3 months later showed stabilization of a condition that had been progressing for 2 years. This was not a miracle. This was James giving his body, and specifically his eyes, what they had been missing. You can experience exactly the same thing. Number 2. Bilberries. If you have never heard of bilberries, pay close attention because this small, dark berry is arguably the most scientifically validated fruit for vision health in the world. Bilberries are closely related to blueberries but contain significantly higher concentrations of anthocyanins, the pigments responsible for their deep purple-black color and for their extraordinary effect on visual function. The scientific history of bilberries and vision is fascinating. During World War II, British Royal Air Force pilots reportedly consumed bilberry jam before night missions and noticed dramatically improved night vision. This observation triggered decades of research that has since confirmed and expanded upon the underlying mechanisms. Anthocyanins from bilberries bind directly to rhodopsin, the light-sensitive pigment in your rod cells responsible for night and low-light vision, and have been shown to accelerate its regeneration after exposure to light. In other words, the annoying experience of walking into a dim room and struggling to adjust your eyes for what feels like a very long time, bilberry consumption measurably shortens that adjustment period. A double-blind, placebo-controlled study published in the Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that adults who consumed bilberry extract daily for 30 days experienced a 42% improvement in low-light visual adaptation compared to the placebo group. 42% improvement in 30 days. Bilberries have also been shown to reduce retinal inflammation, support the integrity of blood vessels within the eye, and deliver a potent dose of the same lutein and zeaxanthin that protect the macula from degeneration. Fresh bilberries can be difficult to find in the United States, but dried bilberries and bilberry supplements are widely available. Look for a supplement standardized to 25% anthocyanins for greatest potency. If you prefer whole food sources, wild blueberries are the best readily available substitute and contain a notably higher anthocyanin concentration than cultivated blueberries. Take your bilberry supplement or eat a serving of wild blueberries approximately 2 hours before bed. at the beginning of that overnight repair window when your eyes are most receptive to rebuilding rhodopsin and repairing retinal tissue. Here is the pro tip almost nobody knows. Combining bilberries or wild blueberries with a small amount of dark chocolate containing at least 70% cacao dramatically amplifies the effect. Cacao contains its own class of antioxidant flavonols that enhance blood flow to the retina. Together, the two compounds work synergistically, meaning the combined effect exceeds what either would produce alone. One small square of dark chocolate alongside your bilberry or wild blueberry serving in the evening is one of the most powerful, most enjoyable things you can do for your vision tonight. I want to tell you about Linda. Linda was a 68-year-old retired nurse from Boston, Massachusetts. She had spent her entire career caring for other people, and now she found herself needing care herself. She had been diagnosed with early-stage macular degeneration 2 years prior, and the progression had been steady enough that her retinal specialist had raised the possibility of injection treatments in the near future. She was devastated. As a nurse, she understood exactly what that progression meant. She came to me not looking for a miracle, but looking for anything she could do to slow things down, to buy herself more time. I introduced her to a comprehensive evening fruit protocol centered around bilberries and the number one fruit we are about to discuss. I also addressed several dietary habits that were actively accelerating her inflammation. 3 months later, Linda went back to her retinal specialist for a scheduled follow-up. The specialist told her that not only had the progression stopped, but several markers of macular health had actually improved. The specialist asked her what she had changed. When Linda explained the dietary modifications, she was told, and I want you to hear this carefully, she was told that diet alone rarely produces this kind of measurable change, but it had. Linda called my office that same afternoon. She told me, "Doctor, she said my macula looks stable for the first time in 2 years. I cried in the parking lot." That is what food can do when you use it correctly and consistently. Your body wants to heal. It simply needs the right raw materials. And now, number 1. The fruit that earns the top spot on this list, not because it is the most exotic or the most expensive, but because it delivers the most complete, the most powerful, the most scientifically supported combination of vision-protecting nutrients of any fruit available to you tonight. Number 1. Black currants. Black currants are not widely consumed in the United States, and that is a genuine nutritional tragedy for anyone concerned about their vision. In Japan, where black currant consumption is significantly higher, they have long been recognized as a vision-protective food, and Japanese researchers have produced some of the most compelling studies on their specific effects in aging eyes. Black currants contain the highest known concentration of anthocyanins of any fruit, higher than bilberries, higher than wild blueberries, higher than any other commonly studied fruit. But anthocyanins are only part of the story. Black currants are also extraordinarily rich in vitamin C, containing nearly 4 times the vitamin C of an equivalent serving of oranges. They deliver gamma-linolenic acid, an anti-inflammatory fatty acid that directly reduces intraocular pressure. They provide a meaningful dose of lutein and zeaxanthin for macular protection, and they contain a unique class of anthocyanins, specifically cyanidin-3-glucoside and delphinidin-3-glucoside, that have been shown in peer-reviewed research to cross the blood-retinal barrier, meaning they reach the actual retinal tissue directly, rather than simply circulating in the bloodstream. A landmark study published in the Journal of Nutritional Biochemistry found that daily black currant consumption over 12 weeks improved visual adaptation to darkness by 48%, reduced eye fatigue by 51%, and improved contrast sensitivity, which is the ability to distinguish objects against backgrounds of similar color or shade, by 37%. 51% reduction in eye fatigue. Think about what that means if you currently find yourself avoiding reading or screen use in the evenings because your eyes feel exhausted. Think about what that means for your quality of life. A subsequent study specifically examining adults over 65 found that black currant anthocyanins reduced the rate of macular pigment optical density decline by 60% compared to a placebo group over a 6-month period. 60% reduction in the rate of decline. In practical terms, that is the difference between losing meaningful vision within a few years and maintaining stable, functional vision for potentially a decade or more. Black currants also contain polyphenols that support the health of the tiny capillaries supplying your retina, reducing the microvascular damage that contributes to both macular degeneration and diabetic retinopathy. And their exceptionally high vitamin C content directly targets cataract formation, with research suggesting consistent consumption can reduce cataract progression risk by over 30%. Now here is how to actually get this into your life, because fresh black currants are genuinely difficult to find in most American grocery stores. Frozen black currants are widely available online and at specialty stores, and freezing preserves anthocyanins effectively. Black currant juice is another excellent option, provided you choose varieties with no added sugar. Black currant supplements standardized for anthocyanin content are also effective and highly convenient. Look for products standardized to at least 15 to 25% anthocyanins, and choose capsules over gummies, as gummies often contain significantly less active compound. The optimal protocol is this. Take black currant supplement or consume 2 to 3 tablespoons of frozen black currants, thawed, approximately 90 minutes to 2 hours before bed. This timing places the anthocyanins in your system at the precise moment your eyes shift into their overnight regeneration cycle. Pair them with a small amount of healthy fat, a few walnuts, or a teaspoon of olive oil to maximize absorption. And if you can combine your black currant with a small serving of wild blueberries, you are delivering 2 complementary anthocyanin profiles simultaneously, which research suggests produces a synergistic effect beyond either fruit alone. Now let me give you the complete action plan, because knowing what to eat is only half the equation. Knowing how to implement it as a consistent daily routine is what actually changes your vision over time. Starting tomorrow evening, here is exactly what I want you to do. 2 to 3 hours before bed, eat 1 to 2 cups of papaya with a squeeze of lime juice. This delivers your vitamin A precursor, your vitamin C, and your anti-inflammatory papain. 1 hour and 30 minutes before bed, eat your primary vision protection combination. 2 tablespoons of frozen thawed black currants or your black currant supplement. 1 cup of wild blueberries or your bilberry supplement, a small handful of red or purple grapes, 1 square of dark chocolate with at least 70% cacao. 1 hour before bed, if you are not avoiding higher sugar fruits for blood sugar reasons, eat 2 kiwis. These add lutein, vitamin E, and additional vitamin C that work synergistically with what you consumed earlier. Twice a week in your evening routine, add pomegranate seeds or juice for optic nerve support and vascular protection. 3 times per week, include watermelon earlier in the evening with a small amount of healthy fat for lycopene delivery. Here are the critical mistakes I see patients make that eliminate the benefits entirely. First, do not eat these fruits with high sugar desserts or refined carbohydrates. Elevated blood sugar creates an inflammatory environment that actively counteracts the protective effects of the antioxidants you are delivering. Second, do not skip the healthy fat component. Fat-soluble carotenoids like lutein, zeaxanthin, lycopene, and beta-cryptoxanthin are absorbed at a fraction of their potential without dietary fat present. Third, do not expect results overnight and then give up. The rebuilding of macular pigment, the regeneration of rhodopsin, the repair of retinal vasculature, these are processes that occur over weeks and months, not days. Give this protocol a minimum of 30 days before you evaluate results. Most of my patients begin noticing meaningful changes between weeks 3 and 6. Fourth, do not neglect hydration. Your vitreous humor, the gel-like substance filling most of your eye, is primarily water. Chronic mild dehydration directly impairs eye pressure regulation and nutrient delivery to retinal tissue. Drink adequate water throughout the day, but reduce intake in the final hour before bed to avoid nighttime disruptions to sleep. The timeline of results most of my patients experience is consistent. Within 1 to 2 weeks, many notice reduced eye strain and fatigue, particularly in the evenings. Within 3 to 4 weeks, most report improved adjustment when moving from bright to dim environments, which reflects rhodopsin regeneration. Within 6 to 8 weeks, a significant number describe improved clarity in low light, reduced halos around lights at night, and a general sense that their vision feels less strained. Within 3 to 4 months, those with early-stage macular changes begin to see stabilization and sometimes measurable improvement on follow-up examinations. Your eyes are not simply aging beyond your control. They are responding every single day to what you feed them. You are not broken. Your diet and your information have been incomplete. And now you have something most people over 60 do not have: a specific, actionable, scientifically grounded plan for protecting and potentially restoring the most precious sensory gift you have been given. Let me recap the 7 fruits we covered today, from least to most powerful. Number 7, watermelon for lycopene and vascular protection. Number 6, red grapes for resveratrol and night vision anthocyanins. Number 5, papaya for vitamin A, vitamin C, and anti-inflammatory papain. Number 4, kiwi for lutein, vitamin E, and macular pigment support. Number 3, pomegranate for optic nerve protection and intraocular pressure reduction. Number 2, bilberries and wild blueberries for rhodopsin regeneration and low-light vision improvement. And number 1, black currants for the highest known anthocyanin concentration, retinal barrier penetration, and the most comprehensive vision protective profile of any fruit available to you. Each one of these fruits has its own unique power. Combined into a consistent evening protocol, they create something far greater than any supplement bottle on any pharmacy shelf. My challenge to you is this: commit to this evening fruit protocol for 30 days. Just 30 days. Track how your eyes feel in the morning. Notice your night driving. Pay attention to how long it takes your eyes to adjust when you enter a dim room. Notice when you can read for longer without strain. Your retinas will respond. Your independence depends on your vision, and your vision depends on what you choose to eat tonight. If this video helped you, smash that like button. Subscribe for more practical, honest health information designed specifically for adults over 60. And share this with someone whose vision matters to you: a spouse, a sibling, a friend who has been struggling at night. You could genuinely change the trajectory of their eye health with a single share. And now I want to hear from you. Which of these 7 fruits will you add to your evening routine first? Is it black currants, wild blueberries, papaya? Tell me in the comments. Share your story. Tell me where you are in your vision journey. I read every single response, and your words matter more than you know. Because remember, aging does not take away your eye's ability to heal. It simply reminds you to care for them the right way. Take care of yourself.